It started with a selfie, a filter, a caption. But by the time the sun set that evening, one girl was dead and the other was posing with her body, posting it to Snapchat like it was just another day. No one could believe it. Was this really about clout? Or was there something darker brewing behind that glowing screen? They were the kind of friends that everyone noticed. Always together. Matching hoodies, inside jokes, late-night video calls. From middle school through high school, the bond between Lila and Ava looked unbreakable, at least from the outside. Their social media feeds were filled with filters, emojis, and perfectly posed selfies, highlight reels of teenage life, curated for likes and admiration. But no one saw what really went on behind the screens. Lila was the quieter one, more grounded, thoughtful, and introverted. She'd always been the listener in the friendship, the one who held the camera while Ava twirled in front of it. Ava, in contrast, was loud, bold, and obsessed with attention. Her TikTok videos racked up likes. Her Snapchat streaks were immaculate. She chased trends, hunted validation, and her followers meant more to her than most of her real-world relationships. The two girls balanced each other out, or so it seemed. But lately that balance had been shifting. When Ava began gaining attention from popular boys and racking up thousands of views on her posts, things started to feel different. Lila, once the best friend who celebrated Ava's wins, began noticing that she was being pushed into the background. There were fewer texts, fewer hangouts. Ava's stories rarely tagged Lila anymore. Instead, they were full of new friends, edgy captions, and an unrelenting hunger to stay relevant. And Lila, quiet, loyal, and invisible, was slowly being replaced. At first, Lila brushed it off as growing pains. High school had its cliques, and Ava had always been a social butterfly. But then came the party that changed everything. It was supposed to be a small birthday celebration, just close friends and some music. But when Ava arrived with a crowd of loud, flashy teens and live-streamed the whole event, Lila realized she didn't belong in Ava's world anymore. The final blow came when Ava shared a story mocking Lila's outfit, disguised as a joke, but clearly meant to humiliate. It was a quiet betrayal, one masked by emojis and laughs, but it cut deep. That night, something shifted in Lila. She started keeping a journal, not of thoughts or feelings, but of everything Ava said, did, or posted that made her feel discarded. Every insult hidden in a just kidding, every moment where Lila's feelings were trampled by Ava's need for attention. There were pages. Lots of them. In school, things grew colder. Ava had little time for one-on-one conversations, especially when a ring light or camera wasn't involved. Lila found herself eating alone, watching Ava's videos with strangers in them, people who laughed at jokes she wasn't part of. She felt erased, forgotten. And yet she kept following Ava's every post. Every like Ava gave someone else stung like a reminder, you're not enough anymore. Then came the new girl, Taryn. She was edgy, pretty, and popular on TikTok. Ava latched onto her immediately, and within days their videos went viral. They lip-synced to breakup songs, danced to trending tracks, and created bestie challenges that drew in thousands of likes. Lila watched from the sidelines as her place was taken, not just in Ava's life, but in the digital universe they once built together. The final trigger was a private message. A mutual friend accidentally sent Lila a screenshot of a group chat. Ava was in it, laughing at an old photo of Lila, calling her basic and boring. The same Ava who used to braid her hair and cry during sleepovers had now reduced her to a meme. Lila didn't react right away. She didn't confront Ava. She didn't cry. She just went quiet. Offline, her demeanor remained unchanged. But her digital footprint became darker. Searches about betrayal, obsession, even violent revenge. She started consuming crime stories, watching documentaries, and researching infamous cases where people snapped under pressure. To the outside world, they were still friends. Their last post together, a throwback selfie with a caption that read "Ride or Die Blackheart," seemed sweet. But the truth was the ride had already ended, and one of them had silently chosen how it would. This wasn't about jealousy anymore. It wasn't about friendship. It was about erasure. Lila felt like a ghost in a world Ava had built, and ghosts, when ignored long enough, screamed to be seen. The girl once called boring had a plan, one that would turn their story into the ultimate post. Only this time there would be no filters, no takebacks, just silence, and then the sound of a notification. The days leading up to the incident felt almost like a countdown, each moment more charged than the last, as if something terrible was circling just out of sight. Ava had no idea what was brewing beneath Lila's calm surface. To her, everything was business as usual: snap a picture, post a story, chase another viral moment. She was too immersed in her growing online presence to notice how cold Lila's eyes had grown, how rehearsed her smiles had become. It started with Ava's idea to make a bold new video, something shocking, something that would blow up their engagement. She texted Lila late one night, "Let's do something insane. Real content. Real reactions. Something crazy." She added a laughing emoji as if to lighten it, but Lila read between the lines. Ava didn't want fun. She wanted spectacle. Lila played along. For the first time in weeks, she responded with enthusiasm. "I'm in. Let's make it unforgettable." She suggested they meet after school that Friday. Ava agreed immediately. In her mind, this was content gold, a dramatic reunion of two old friends turned rivals. Maybe even a prank. The idea of turning their tension into entertainment was thrilling to her. But for Lila, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't content. It was justice, twisted, cold-blooded justice wrapped in a Snapchat filter. She scouted a location in advance. An abandoned maintenance building near the woods behind their school. No cameras, no people, no noise. She pitched it to Ava as grungy and perfect for a horror-style shoot. Ava loved it. "Yes," she texted, "it's giving creepy core. Bring the fake blood." That Friday Lila came prepared. She brought 2 cans of soda, some props, a ring light and something Ava never saw coming. A weapon wrapped in a towel hidden deep in her backpack. They walked to the location laughing, pretending like things were normal. Ava had her phone out the entire time, recording behind-the-scenes content, capturing herself with Lila, as if their feud had been exaggerated all along. She posted a teaser on her story, "Wait till you see what we're about to do, eyes fire." Her followers flooded the post with excited replies. Lila smiled for the camera, stood beside her former best friend and waited. Inside the old building the air was musty and cold. They set up the ring light, posed, recorded a few clips. Ava was in her element, bossing Lila around gently, framing each scene for maximum impact. "Let's fake fight," she said. "Like full-on girl drama. It'll be hilarious." Lila agreed. The camera rolled. Ava lunged playfully. Lila responded. Screams. Laughter. Everything still felt like a performance until it didn't. At some point the play fighting became real. Ava made a joke, something sharp and personal. Something about Lila being desperate for attention now that nobody follows you anymore. She laughed. Lila didn't. Her hand went to the towel in her bag. It was quick. The moment snapped from fun to horrifying in seconds. Ava's laughter was cut short by shock, then pain, then silence. Blood stained the floor, the props, the lens of her own phone still recording. And then Lila did something no one could have imagined. She picked up Ava's phone, still unlocked, and opened Snapchat. She looked into the camera, her face calm, composed, and said, "This is real. Not a prank." Then she turned the camera, briefly showing what was behind her. No filters. No music. Just chaos. The story uploaded instantly. Within minutes, DMs flooded Ava's inbox. Friends watched the clip in horror, unsure if it was a twisted special effect or something far worse. Comments ranged from "WTF is this?" to "Tell me this is fake." Some laughed nervously. Others screenshotted it. A few called 911. Lila didn't run. She stayed. She sat down on the floor, her hands soaked and shaking, Ava's phone still in her lap. She refreshed the view count. Hundreds. Then thousands. It was everything Ava had ever wanted: virality, shock, attention. But now it came at the cost of her own life. When the police arrived, Lila didn't resist. She was calm. Distant. Like someone who had already detached from reality. Her only words were chilling. She always wanted to go viral. The officers found the murder weapon near her bag, the Snapchat post still pinned to the top of the account. Ava's fans, classmates, and even complete strangers were watching the aftermath unfold in real time. Later, investigators would comb through Lila's devices. They'd find months of saved messages, voice recordings, journal entries. Obsessive, calculated notes detailing everything Ava ever did to her. But what shocked them most wasn't the anger. It was the calm. Lila hadn't snapped in a moment of rage. She had planned it. Curated it. Just like a story. Just like Ava would have. The video lasted just 12 seconds, but it sent an entire community into chaos. Police dispatchers were flooded with panicked calls from teenagers, parents, and strangers across the country who had seen the clip through re-uploads and screen recordings. It was shared on Reddit threads, true crime pages, and gossip forums faster than authorities could react. At first, many assumed it was a tasteless prank, a stunt meant to gain attention. But the blood, the broken silence, the flicker of something lifeless behind the camera, it all felt too real. By the time officers arrived at the abandoned building behind the school, the sun had nearly set. The crime scene was eerily quiet, lit only by the glow of a single ring light still powered on, buzzing softly in the background. Ava's body lay on the cold concrete floor, a stark contrast to the perfectly curated persona she had projected online. The camera that had once captured dances and filters now recorded a static shot of aftermath and silence. Lila sat in the corner, knees pulled to her chest, her clothes stained with blood. She didn't cry. She didn't move. When officers approached, she simply looked up and said, "You saw it, didn't you?" It was as if she already knew the world had watched her confession play out in real time. There was no resistance. No denial. Just an eerie calm. At the station, Lila barely spoke. She answered questions in short, emotionless statements, her voice detached from the weight of what had happened. She admitted to everything, the planning, the motive, the execution. She described Ava's betrayal, the jokes, the humiliation. She explained how she felt invisible, discarded, replaced. But when asked why she posted it to Snapchat, her answer was the one thing investigators couldn't shake. "She would have done it to me," Lila said. "She would have made it a story. I just got to it first." News of the murder spread rapidly. National headlines framed it as the Snapchat killing, with experts speculating on the psychological impact of social media on teenage minds. Commentators debated whether Lila was a victim of online bullying or a cold-blooded murderer seeking digital revenge. Ava's parents were devastated, not only by their daughter's death, but by the way it was broadcast to the world like content. In the courtroom, Lila's trial drew massive attention. Cameras were banned, but that didn't stop artists from sketching the girl in her oversized orange jumpsuit, sitting with an unreadable expression. The prosecution portrayed her as manipulative, calculating, and dangerous. Someone who didn't just kill out of rage but out of a desire for attention, the same currency Ava once thrived on. The defense painted a more complex picture. A vulnerable teenager pushed to the edge by emotional abuse, cyberbullying, and relentless social pressure. They presented evidence of long-term psychological damage, journals full of Ava's cruelties, and therapy notes that revealed a deeply isolated and unstable mind. They argued that Lila didn't just snap, she unraveled slowly, suffocating in a world where being unseen was worse than being dead. During her testimony, Lila remained calm. She never cried. Never looked at Ava's parents. When asked if she regretted what she did, she paused and said, "I regret that it got to that point. But I don't regret showing the truth." Her words echoed for weeks. The jury deliberated for days. In the end, Lila was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 30 years in a juvenile correctional facility, with a review possible after 20. The verdict sparked national outrage from all sides, some claiming it was too harsh, others insisting she should never walk free again. But even as Lila disappeared behind bars, the story refused to die. Ava's final video was permanently deleted by Snapchat, but copies lived on the dark corners of the internet. Documentaries were made. Podcasts dissected the timeline. Social media influencers posted reaction videos, some mourning, others exploiting the tragedy for clicks, ironically echoing the same culture that helped cause it. In prison, Lila was reportedly quiet. She refused interviews, declined book deals, and stopped speaking to most visitors. But there were rumors. Fellow inmates claimed she kept a notebook under her mattress, still writing, still documenting. A few said she even smiled when she heard her name on the news. The town never fully recovered. Ava's school held vigils, counseling sessions, and assemblies on digital awareness, but the shadow of what happened never left the hallways. Her memorial photo, framed in the cafeteria, became a haunting reminder of how fast a life could be turned into a hashtag. For many, the scariest part wasn't the murder. It was how easily it happened, how quickly a friendship unraveled, how normal it all seemed right up until the end. 2 girls. A phone. A story. And a moment the internet would never forget.